So last week I spoke about Greyhound and I wanted to see if it was worth the Apple TV Plus subscription. But this time I'm just gonna assume that if you're watching this, you have Netflix, cause who doesn't? So I watched the film last night to see, is The Old Guard worth anyone's time? Now I can tell you, so let's talk about it. Okay, so is this movie worth your time? My short answer is probably not, unless you're a super Charlize fan. And I'll explain to you why I think so. This movie is directed by Gina Prince-Bythewood, starring Charlize Theron, Kiki, Layne, and Chiwetel Ejiofor. And in this movie, Charlize and her crew of mercenaries are on a revenge mission against Harry Melling. Yeah, I know you recognize him. Dudley from Harry Potter? Yeah, you got it. But these mercenaries are special. They basically can't die and have bodies that quickly regenerate from injuries. Like Wolverine without the claws, pretty much. But this is a great example of a movie where the concept outweighs the content. The themes and the ideas are actually really interesting. The film explores what it really means to be immortal and highlights how much of a blessing it is to be able to die. But the way the movie was put together was actually quite generic in a lot of ways. Like the dialogue, the cliches, some of the characters, and the soundtrack. Oh my god, the soundtrack. I'm gonna save the soundtrack for the end of this video because it just needs that amount of time. I'll start with the performances. Charlize Theron is the one thing you cannot take away from this movie. At this point, she really established herself as a super talented action star. We've seen her absolutely kill it as Furiosa, and in this movie, she kills it too. Her action sequences are the most fun to watch, and her acting performance is top notch as always. Kiki Layne seemed a bit like she was reading her lines sometimes, but she was adequate. Chiwetel Ejiofor was great, you can't be surprised. Marwan Kenzari was great, you should be surprised after this. But there were two performances in this movie that were truly bad. Meta and Melling. Meta's in the movie for like 5 minutes, so it's not too bad, but wow, that's not an actor. Like, you notice when she's acting. The real issue though was Harry Melling. His character came off so animated, goofy, and cliche, you just couldn't take anything he said seriously. And it was when Melling got introduced to the movie, like about halfway through, that the story became way less interesting. The film becomes about finding a cure, which is the most contrived villain scheme ever. I was way more fascinated by the simple direction in the first half that focused on the characters and their internal struggles. That was actually the interesting part. Action films rarely need a complex story to be effective. A lot of the time, less is more. Aliens, Predator, Die Hard, John Wick, The Avengers, Fury Road. Focus up on the characters and give us good action sequences. That's all we ask. Which brings me to the biggest question of this film. Is the action good? Sadly, the action isn't great. It isn't shot in any thoughtful or interesting ways. We get a lot of handheld shots, which is fine, but we get quite a bit of quick cuts and shaky cam, which isn't super captivating. Some of the stunt work was actually really nice though, especially the action scenes with Charlene's character. The R rating actually really helped to keep things in frame too. But I promised earlier I was gonna talk about this, and now I have to. The soundtrack, holy god. The featured songs on here are definitely the worst aspect of this whole movie. It sounded like the playlist for a 14-year-old girl. It's just these overproduced pop tunes. The instrumentals sound like free stock pop music, and they have these singers on them with the most boring voices. The lyrics in these songs relate to what's happening in the movie so directly, and they are so surface level it makes you cringe. And these songs play during some of the action scenes, and it just ruins your immersion with the film. Overall, this Netflix original was not created by a thoughtful director with their own vision. It feels more like a product made by Netflix to satisfy the masses for 2 hours. Another forgettable film. It's not worth your time. I'm gonna give The Old Guard a 4 out of 10. The main actors are really just carrying this thing on their backs, and if you want to explore immortality in a more stylistic and captivating way, watch Logan. If you want to see Charlize kick ass in a way better action movie, just watch Fury Road. Let's start the discussion though. What are your favorite action movies? I absolutely love these two. And what did you think about The Old Guard if you've seen it? Could you enjoy it for what it was, or did you see it more like I did? I would love to hear. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you want to keep discussing, and liking the video would be great if you enjoyed it. All commenters I'll put in the next video's credits. Thanks a lot. See you guys next time.